Here we go. All right. Welcome back to the American LFC show. I'm one of your hosts, Salim. I'm joined by my co-host, Coach Ralph. Coach, different team today, it seemed like, or maybe a different opponent, but 6-0 victory. Pretty much game was done and dusted early on. What were your takes of the game against the team from Azerbaijan?
Well, I think that what was positive was after the recent run of games, Liverpool came out a little more aggressively. And I think as well, Qarabag had actually been doing quite well. And I see that they've made the playoff round because they've got enough points. But I suspect part of that might to do with the fact, that they're probably much better at home. I know that they drew with Chelsea 2-2. And you could kind of see that they were kind of a neat and tidy possession type team, but they weren't very physical.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a big contrast to what Liverpool come up against in the Premier League. And as I say, Liverpool were a lot more front foot. And let's hope that they can take that into the Premier League games as well. Yeah, it kind of takes the heat off to some degree. I've been at practice, so I haven't, kind of looked around to see what fans are saying generally. But I'm sure part of the dialogue is going to be, well, they're a weaker team, and the Premier League will be more challenging. And I think that's probably a fair comment.
So we got a lot of different goal scorers. The Wirtz and Ekitike connection seems to be blossoming. Ekitike assisted Wirtz's goal, and then he got on the score sheet a little bit later. Coach, I was thinking about this a lot. The team should be built around those two, right? I mean, it's pretty clear that's the future.
Well, it seems to be moving in that direction because they were the first players that were taken off. So that tends to suggest that. And they combine well. I think one thing that's interesting about Ekitike is, and we'll have to see how this kind of pans out over a longer period of games, is he's kind of all over the place. He's in the middle, he's wide, he's on both sides of the field. And I think that's fine to a degree, but I think if Liverpool gets kind of a more settled style, there are times when you're wanting him in the box.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't a problem so much tonight because Liverpool certainly had numbers in attack, but I can see there's going to be games when, I know some of the games previously where players like Robertson, who's a very good crosser of the ball, would put the ball in the box and there's nobody really there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's not just the job of the striker to be there, but better signs tonight. But it'll be very interesting to see how Ekitike is kind of employed when it comes to the week in, week out Premier League games, when hopefully Liverpool has a more settled style and more settled team.
So you look at the score sheet, McAllister had 2, Wirtz had 1. Looked like a carbon copy goal of this past weekend where Salah kind of rolled the ball backwards to Szoboszlai. This time it was reversed from the other side. Szoboszlai rolled it to Salah and he scored. And then Ekitike on a breakaway, and Chiesa kind of in the 90th minute off a pass from Virgil, who seemed to be playing center forward at that point in time too. So 6 goals is always a good sign, regardless of the team, I think, right, when it comes to professional soccer. So that's a good sign. But now we move on to Newcastle. It is at home at Anfield.
Yeah, it is. Obviously, the last couple of games against Newcastle, you've got the League Cup final, the Qarabag Cup final, where basically Newcastle outplayed Liverpool. And, to some extent as well, even though they played a large part of the game at St James's Park with 10 men, they still outplayed Liverpool. So I think it's an intriguing game. I think one thing that might be interesting is when when Liverpool played Newcastle in the Qarabag Cup final. It was just after they had played PSG, and so the roles are reversed now. Now, obviously, it was a good result for Newcastle. I mean, I haven't read any reports of the game, but I'm sure it was a challenging game for the Geordies, and I wonder if the shoe might be on the other foot when they come to Anfield this weekend, where they're kind of feeling the heat of having played against PSG.
Right.
And then the other thing that I think is going to be a factor is obviously Liverpool lost Frimpong early in the game.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty predictable that the first thing Newcastle will do on Saturday is they'll have the pace of Anthony Gordon stationed out on that side of the field. And what will Arne Slot do to kind of counteract that? Because, as I say, the last two games, Newcastle have given Liverpool a lot of problems.
Well, Endo's definitely not the answer if Anthony Gordon's going to be out there for sure. I wonder where... Oh, no, Bradley's out. Yeah, I wonder what we're going to do.
Well, one thing that's very interesting, I find when it comes to fullbacks, I mean, it's not unusual for right-footed fullbacks to play at left back.
Mm-hmm.
But there seems to be a reluctance to do it the other way around. I mean, the way that I see the fullback situation, I would guess that he'll probably bring Kirkers back into the team. But for me, and I think for a lot of Liverpool fans, Robertson is still a better player at this moment in time. He's got his experience, but he's much calmer on the ball. And we haven't really seen... Kirkers has shown some improvements recently, but we haven't seen as much offensively in attack. I think... for me, I would still pick Robertson, and I would keep him there. I mean, he's probably not going to be at Anfield next season, because I think Kirkers is the future. But I mean... Why not play Kirkers at right full back? I mean, he's not going to give as much to Liverpool offensively right now as Robertson.
Mm-hmm.
And he's certainly been competing better defensively. So, I don't know. I mean, as I say, they will play right-footed players at left back. Why not the other way around?
That would be interesting to see. Kirkes could probably give Gordon a run for his money, I think.
Well, I think he would compete. I mean, like, he's been looking better defensively right now. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'll do all the usual stuff, which is, try to force him onto his right and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, Liverpool are kind of limited for options. I mean, I don't think that you want to move Szoboszlai there because it takes away something in the midfield. So, I mean, play Gravenberg there. I don't know. I mean, I don't know whether I know that what's his name, Guimaraes wasn't starting for Newcastle tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he came on as a sub. But I'm pretty sure that they'll want him to start against Liverpool at the weekend. And so you've kind of got this dual-edged sword of wanting to compete with Newcastle in midfield because they're physical. And then you've got the problem at right full back. I mean, I don't see the issue with playing Endo in midfield. I mean, certainly Arne Slot did substitute tonight, but you still feel like he's reluctant to do it. And I think he's got to change his tune, not just at the weekend, but over the longer haul. I mean, we'll always come back to Jurgen Klopp and that Carabao Cup final where okay, he's got a lot of players out through injury, and he's throwing on the kids, and that's in a final.
Right.
And I mean, I think sometimes that you've just got to bite the bullet. And then he's complaining, that he's not got enough players. Well, maybe he doesn't have enough players that he fancies, but I think he's got to take a leaf out of his predecessor and say, look, sometimes you just got to do it. And so, I mean, physically, I don't think Trey Nione is ready to match up with Newcastle. But
Right.
I think Endo, and maybe if you've got to turn to a Nione, it's late in the game. It's late in the game when maybe some of the heat has gone out of the game. But hopefully Jones will be back because he was ill, and so he didn't figure tonight. And I certainly wouldn't play Curtis Jones at right fullback, and that's in any game, let alone against a player that has proven pace and everything like Anthony Gordon. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does. I have a feeling that he might put Szoboszlai there, but I think that's a negative move, personally.
Yeah, we'll see if he just plays Kirkes and Robertson. That would be interesting for sure. We do have a comment from Michelle saying that, unfortunately, the Premier League teams are are stronger than the team we face today, and the low block that gets us set up for a counterattack is where our problems are. We don't necessarily disagree with that comment, but just what's the plan for Newcastle, I guess. And coach, with that injury, I mean, they knew right away, the groin injury almost right away. Szoboszlai was doing the universal substitute sign there to the sideline, and it's a shame because Frimpong was starting to find his own. He was playing well. He was starting to get to the byline. He was starting to own that right side, and he just can't stay healthy this year, and that's a shame. That's tough. It seems like we've been snake bitten by a lot of injuries, kind of when you start looking back at it with Leone and Bradley and Frimpong being in and out, and it's tough, but it is what it is. And other teams have their issues as well, and we just have to cope. And it is at Anfield, which is nice, and Manchester City's at Anfield, so we'll have a nice 3-game stretch, nice week-long stretch at home, and we'll see kind of how it goes from there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it was just good to see Liverpool attacking a lot and taking shots at goal, because I think I heard one stat that Liverpool's average in the Premier League for shots, I'm not sure that shots or shots on target, was only 4 this season, which is kind of wow.
Yeah.
You're not going to win many games with so few shots. I mean, because the standard is, they say 1 goal for every 10 shots. So Liverpool's output has been very low in that department.
Yeah. And it could also be, the front line being so different. So there's a lot of factors that add up to that. But regardless, we'll enjoy this victory, Coach. And then Saturday, 3:00 Eastern time, we have Liverpool hosting Newcastle. Coach, you mentioned the history between these two teams. Are we anticipating another dogfight here, or is there any key to the game on either side that might expose something to give one or the other team an edge?
Well, I think it's going to be competitive. I think from a Liverpool point of view, that they've got to come out and like they haven't had to travel for their Champions League game. I mean, Newcastle didn't have to go that far, but as I said earlier, I'm sure that they were given a thorough workout by PSG.
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be an advantage potentially there for Liverpool, but it's only going to be an advantage if Liverpool are prepared to take it. Because, pretty much this season, Liverpool haven't been playing to their usual DNA, which is to come out and really take the game to the opponent.
Right.
And okay, you could say that they did that to some degree today, but maybe it's because they realize that this isn't kind of the level that they can expect every weekend in the Premier League.
Yeah. Coach, on a side note, did you see the highlights of the Benfica Real Madrid game?
Yeah, I haven't seen anything. I watched the Liverpool game, but I believe the goalkeeper scored, didn't he?
Yeah, which got them into the playoff and knocked Marseille out of the playoff.
I did it.
Like in the 97th minute, the goal. Yeah, he waves the goalie up, and there was a lot of confusion in that game because they were up 3-2, and Benfica was being pretty lackadaisical, and the commentators were saying they need another goal to advance, and somewhere along the way they figured that out, and Mourinho waves the goalie forward, and sure enough, goalie scores, and they're into the knockouts, or not the knockout, the playoff now. To be part of it, and knocked Marseille out. It was when you see stuff like that, you just think of Alisson, back in the day, and pretty special moment for the goalkeeper there. Pretty cool, unique moment there.
No,
all right, Coach. Well, yeah, go ahead.
I think the league phase actually is turning out to be a good format.
Yeah.
I think it's better than the old format. The only thing that I think that they could do to improve it has to do with the playoff rounds, because they have this fixated way, that they kind of, when they make the draw, it kind of predicts all the way to the final. I'd like to see that changed. I quite like the system that I've seen in this country, whereby the highest seed always plays against the lowest seed.
Yeah.
So that to me is a little more unpredictable. And I think it also rewards teams for finishing high up, as indeed Liverpool did last year. I think it's more liable to reward teams for doing well during the league phase. But anyway, I believe the draw takes place this Friday, and we'll see what happens.
Well, we finished third, and 5 English teams are in the top 8 already through to the round of 16. Newcastle is going to be in the playoff, and pretty good showing from the Premier League in the Champions League so far.
Right. So,
all right, Coach. Well, guys, thank you for listening. Michelle, appreciate the comment. And guys, what are your thoughts on this game? What are your thoughts of Newcastle? What are we going to do over at Right Back? Would love to hear your thoughts on that. And we'll be back this weekend to talk about the result of the Newcastle-Liverpool game at Anfield.
Okay. Have a good night, everyone.
All right, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you over the weekend.